So let's do this again. Alright, so we are going to do a little step through of Beach. Someone has asked me some tips and tricks on Beach, and I wanted to make something for maybe some newcomers out there. So we're gonna do two run-throughs. The reason we're gonna do two is because we want to talk about Beach Pikachu, which is an alternative strat and should be reserved for advanced and intermediate runners. If you're just starting out, I don't suggest you do Beach Pikachu because you're going to get Pikachu for the ball and tunnel, so don't worry about that. This is for whenever you're getting really consistently high point counts on Beach. That is when you want to start doing this trick, that strategy, I should say. So let's take a look here. We're going to get 1, 2, 3 Pikachus. I like to aim right there where that cliff edge is, like right about there. You'll get more points. If you get Doduo when he's jumping, even though it's not much more points, so I wouldn't worry about that. We're gonna look straight up here. We're gonna look and see if we can't get these Pidgeys. Once the Pidgeys come into view, lock our camera. We're gonna go immediately to the bottom right, go to this cloud right there. And of course we would get the bad Butterfree. Luckily we saved it here. So that's probably a good thing we're doing 2 runs because that Butterfree is garbage and I hate it, and we got the bad cycle. So, but Butterfree should show up in that spot. Most common one, but every once in a while it just doesn't show up. Look in the sky for lag reduction. We're going to wait for that second Meowth call. We're going to wait about 5 seconds. Right about now. Going to look down. And then Lapras should be showing up here in a second. Lapras can kind of scumbag you like this. And it won't come up until after that Pidgey's there. So whenever that Pidgey is there in front of Lapras, do not take a picture of that Lapras right at that time. Because that Lapras is hidden behind the Pidgey. And you'll get virtually no points for it. There is a way to kind of eke it out. It's right there. So the Pidgey has kind of moved to the right side, and we can still get a full-bodied picture of Lapras. And it's worth less than like a really good earlier picture, but this one will still net you some decent points. So keep going. In the event you do get a bad Butterfree, there's a couple of alternatives. Like you can get this one here. If it's like at a good spot, it's pretty unpredictable, so I wouldn't suggest going for it consistently. But if you get a bad Butterfree, it's not a bad alternative. What I just did there was I took a picture of Meowth when he crosses the tracks. You don't want to do anything crazy with that Meowth. You want to look straight ahead. You want to look maybe a little bit more than like the regular center. I like to line my crosshair up with the there's like a diagonal or a horizontal line on that rock right behind. Kind of line it up right about there. You want to get Meowth at the apex of his jump, right at the very top. Line up with that line right there. So over here, we're gonna look for Kangaskhan, and then we're gonna come back and get Eevee. That was a terrible picture of Eevee. Take another one real quick. But the idea is that Kangaskhan has his back turned to us, so you will almost never get a good Kangaskhan picture. Well, let me rephrase that. You'll never get a good one. It'll never be more than a couple hundred points. So you don't have to worry about getting it centered. You don't have to worry about getting a red dot picture. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just take a picture and quickly move on. You can even get it when it's like half obscured and it doesn't really matter because it's not going to be worth more points. I've gotten pretty good where I snap forward and then I can look and get Eevee, and it's not so bad. But take a look at what our points are. So that's the Pidgey we want. That Doduo. Normally we would get this Butterfree, but the bad Butterfree. Skip this picture, come to this one. That one. Let's see. Meowth would be there. Eevee would have been there. So yeah. Normally what you want to do for menu is this one, this one, this one, and this one. But we got Butterfree here instead of over there, so that's why it's a little off. It's about 3, that's about 2.5, or actually also about 3. 29 is what you're going to get for that Doduo. I got 26 for Lapras. I got 2,000 for Butterfree, but it's better than nothing I was going to get for that one. I'm here at the apex of his jump. We're getting 4K. It's a really easy 4K picture for Meowth. Again, we're not going to get much points for Kangaskhan. Get about 25 for Eevee. I think you can get 26 as well. With some good points, you would get 18,000 points on those. And usually the difference on these pictures is Butterfree. This one's almost always consistent because you're required to take this picture. You can take an earlier one, but it gives you 300 less points. So you want to wait for the text to appear and you'll get 300 more points for it. It's like 2 frames later, so if you get the timing down right, there's pretty much no time loss. An easy 4K. You're gonna get 2960, I think, for the most if it's a few frames back, but it's not a big deal. As long as you're getting 29, that's fine. You're not gonna get more than about 300 or 400 for that one. That's a pretty good Lapras. You would get more points if it was a bit closer, and if the second one was in the back, but you probably wouldn't get 3,000. Probably get a couple hundred more. You can get an easy 26 if you get a really centered picture on this one. But overall, that was pretty good. The real fault in this one was the Butterfree, because the Butterfree we got was actually really bad. So there's that. So we're going to do it one more time. And we're going to get Beach Pikachu. And also get Butterfree. I'll try and get Butterfree one more time, and I'll show you what I was talking about with the cloud. So with Beach Pikachu, normally when you start off, you want to get the ball Pikachu, and that's worth 4,000, and Electrode is worth 3,000, so that's an easy 7K. So if you have 17,000 points coming out of Beach, you could get it easily. You can continue, but it's kind of slow, as opposed to our new early apple strat. The idea with early apples is that you get Beach Pikachu, which is worth right at 3,000 points, and because Beach Pikachu is worth 3,000 points, if we get 21,000 points at the end of Beach, then we'll have enough to get the 3,000 points on Electrode that I was talking about, and then leave. That's a bit faster. It's a couple seconds faster than the ball Pikachu, and Danimal wakes up and realizes that the language difference means something. What was it talking about? Getting the Electrode is a little bit faster without the ball Pikachu, because we also don't have to worry about the menuing aspect, but we also get it a couple seconds faster. The other thing is that if you can get exceptionally good points on Beach, you can get about 22,000 points on Beach, which means that you can get Electrode even earlier and saves about another second or two. So that's another bit of a time save with that one. We get 1, 2, 3 up here. Get another Doduo picture, and then after this, we would snap forward and we would look back. What we want to do is we want to line up the left side of Pikachu's body with the very bottom of this cliff area right there, like right there. That's how we get Beach Pikachu. Snap back forward, look up for those Pidgeys there. Those Pidgeys will tell us when we can start looking down and to the right. Aim for that cloud there. And again, Butterfree, being a scumbag. Don't want to cooperate today. But in this one, the menu would go here, down, right, and right. Green transition, and then you would go here, 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 and here. So that's how the menu would go on the next page, but we don't. I just quit out because didn't feel like doing the whole thing again. Go. And here we got 2920. I haven't gotten a full 3000 before. I've gotten 2980 before, but not a 2920. This Butterfree is worth 3000 points. There we go. It's pretty good. And so we essentially got 22,000 points coming out of Beach, which is really good. So we need 24,000 points for apples. So then we're going to go into Tunnel. And at this point, we don't need this Pikachu here. So we just ignore that. There is a way to just get the first picture, and it's worth about 2,800 points. But Beach Pikachu is objectively better than Tunnel Pikachu. So don't go for Tunnel Pikachu. Just go for Beach Pikachu. So if you have 22, you can lean all the way to the left here, and then get them right about here. And I think that's worth about 2,000 points. Give it a shot. I don't have too much experience with this one. I don't usually go for this one in particular. But yeah, this one's worth 2,000 points, and that's a bit faster. Like, if I had a little bit more points, I'm only 70 short. Like, that's really close. So if I had a really good beach, that definitely would have helped. But what I usually do, that you don't have to do anything special, just snap forward, and then you just have to learn the timing. So right about here is 2,500 points. Then right here, whenever the white is starting to crest over the red here, that's when it's worth 3,000 points. And I don't think it triggered. Delay. Just look forward. Right there, whenever the white is just beginning to crest, that is worth 3,000 points. Again, it's faster than waiting for the ball Pikachu. So if you had just 21,000 points, that would work. This is a little bit more. It's worth 800. I didn't need all that. You could pick somewhere. You kind of have to play with where the values are. But that is the Beach Pikachu strategy and the early Apple strategy. Some people say early apples, which is stupid. Essentially, if you get Beach Pikachu, the early apple strat just becomes about when you take Electrode and not necessarily a different version of the same trick. It's just like you just have to pick when you get Electrode. It becomes when you get between a 2,000 and a 3,000 point picture. And that all depends on how many points you get in Beach. So it becomes a lot more flexible. But I don't suggest this strategy, the early apple strategy, to newcomers, because it's not very consistent. Let me be honest. Ball Pikachu is a blessing. It's a godsend because it will pretty much save you from any run. If you get decent pictures, you can always get Ball Pikachu as a backup, and it's like 10 seconds slower than the early apple strategy, but at least you have a run. So it's really nice, but slow. So once you can consistently get 21,000 points, because you can't get more than 3,000 and like 60 points on Electrode. So if you get more, or if you have less than 20,940, you're kind of out of luck, and you got to go for Ball Pikachu, which is slower because one, you have to wait for the Ball Pikachu, and two, you have to do all the menuing, and three, whenever you actually select the picture, it takes a few seconds longer because you're comparing against an old frame or an old picture. So that's what I wanted to talk about on Beach. That's what I want to talk about with Ball Pikachu and with Beach Pikachu. So I hope that helped.